What's going on, everybody? It's Mark Ferguson with Investor More. I'm doing my very first live on TikTok. So I do these quite a bit. Sorry, on YouTube. That's how often I do them. I do these quite a bit on TikTok. This is my first time doing one on YouTube. So we'll see how this goes. Um, hey, Matthew, what's going on? How many deals to afford those beautiful machines? Quite a few. So I bought my first rental property back in 2010. I was an agent starting in 2003, and it's been a long journey. But yeah, real estate has definitely been great to me. I've been very fortunate to be in it, and mostly rental properties is what built my wealth. But I also flip houses, have some businesses as well. So I have a car I want to sell you. What is it? Although I'm not sure I'm going to be buying any cars anytime soon. After buying the Countach, um, I'm kind of going on a break of buying cars. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, if you want to tell me about the car you want to sell me, I'm always happy to listen to it. Oh, in on TikTok, I can kind of I can do a wide angle lens and show more of it, but I can't do that here. So I'm just learning how all this works. 97 Toyota Century V12 factory air ride. That's kind of a cool car. That's not a US version, I assume. Is that a right-hand drive or left-hand drive? Um, Jewish vampire. How surreal was it the moment you got the keys to your first dream car and actually got to start and drive it? It was pretty crazy. So, Jason Gates, what's going on? How are you? Um, the I got my Diablo in 2014 and it came on Father's Day. So it was absolutely crazy and yes, completely surreal. Um, I was at my father-in-law's house with my wife and I got notice from the car shipper that they're close. And we're there kind of celebrating Father's Day with them. Like, sorry, we've got to go. So we loaded up and came home and actually got here. The truck had beat me here, and I pulled up. It was actually in the cul-de-sac right down our street, and they were unloading the Diablo already. My sister was here helping, and it was pretty crazy. So yeah, that's a pretty surreal moment. The first time I ever drove or saw this car was after it was delivered. So yeah, that was pretty insane. But yeah, that cul-de-sac was just up the street there, about 5 houses. Right-hand drive, assembled in Japan, and only. Yep, I thought so. That's a cool car. I'm not really. My son should not have balls in here, but like I said, not really in the market for another car at the moment. But those are cool cars. I don't know what I would get if I was to buy something or was forced to buy a car right now. I'm not sure what the next one would be. 21,000, yeah, it's not a bad price. If you're gonna do YouTube live, you should assign some mods that are tech savvy and that you extremely trust. Yeah, if they start doing really well, I might do that. This is, like I said, my very first one, so we'll see how it goes. Not my first YouTube live, I shouldn't say that. I've done a few lives on my desktop, kind of with the normal YouTube view. This is my first short vertical screen live, and I should make sure um, if there's anything else here. I think everything's good. Okay, but YouTube just came out, excuse me, with this new format, and so it's kind of cool. I thought I would try it out. Obviously, they're trying to go after TikTok, but um, yeah, it's an interesting format, that's for sure. If you should get a new car, just go all out and get the BMW M8 Grand Coupe competition. I'm not a fan of new cars. For one thing, I am a huge fan of manual transmissions. So that's hard to find in newer cars. There's just a couple that are still made. Um, and I'm also a fan of rare cars, exotic cars that will go up in value. So I've never personally bought a new car. Now I've bought well, my wife has bought a new car, but I haven't. So I prefer buying the older cars that will go up in value or have the potential to go up in value as opposed to newer cars. Yep, for sure. So both of these have the Lamborghini 5-speed manual transmission. What was your first deal you ever did? I mean, the first flip I ever did was with my dad, and I was like a tiny, tiny limited partner. I was mostly mowing the yard and painting and doing work on the house. And that was a 2-story house in the country back in, was it, what did I say, 2002 or 2003? I can't remember exactly. But the first deal I ever did on my own, my first rental property, I bought in 2010, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-story. I paid $96,000 for it here in Colorado. And the first personal house I ever bought for myself, I bought in 2003 as a young real estate agent not making any money, but anybody could get a loan back then, so they gave me one. I'm not sure how smart that was. And that was I paid $190,000 for that house. Ended up selling it for $180,000 6 years later during the crash. But I did that because I bought a much better foreclosure deal, and so it worked out in the end. Thoughts on the BMW 850 CSI 6-speed? Those are awesome. I love those. That's one of my favorite BMWs. So the 850 CSI is super cool. I wish they were a little bit faster. I mean, you can modify them a little bit, but I think that V12 only was like 320 horsepower or something. But it did have a 6-speed. I love the looks of those 850s. And obviously they had some of their V8s, some of their V12s, and the 850 CSI was like the special limited edition model. Those are cool, but they're like over 100 grand now. But yeah, I've always loved those. Have you ever thought about flipping cars too? I've thought about it when I was younger, not now. Cars are tough to flip. So for one thing, if you do more than, 3 sales in Colorado, you have to have your dealer's license. And it's not easy to get your dealer's license. You got to have another dealer sponsor you and do some different stuff. So if you're flipping more than 3 cars a year, you have to have a dealer's license. And it's just, it's a tricky business to flip these kinds of cars. You can do it, but they take longer to sell. There's a lot of things that can be wrong with them. The maintenance can be really expensive. Repairs can be very expensive. So, I mean, some people do it and make good money, but it is, it takes a lot of work. It's not easy. And, a lot of times people want to buy junker cars or cars that need a bunch of work and repair them and make money. But man, it's expensive to repair cars right now. And unless you're doing the work yourself, it's really hard to make that work. So it's not easy with real estate either, but at least from what I've seen, it's a lot easier real estate wise to flip houses and cars. But I've also been doing that a lot longer and not really looking to flipping cars that much. Did you get things worked out with the renter that was using the extra shop space for free? Yeah, Super Dave. Yes. I don't know if you saw one of my latest videos. We were renting that space to them now. So there's a renter who had kind of moved in to a vacant shop space right next to a property that he was renting. And we told him to leave. He was kind of leaving, but eventually they signed a lease. We rented it to them. And then we sent them a bill for some past owed rent on that and utilities and different stuff too. So I don't know if they've paid that yet. I'll have to make sure they do. But yeah, so I think it's fairly worked out. There's a car show going on down east at Denver High Plains Raceway this Saturday. I'll have the Sentry there. You should take one of your cars. It'll be fun. You can also track your car. Oh, that's cool. This weekend I'm going to be crazy busy, so I won't be doing any car stuff. But otherwise, that is pretty fun. I would say keep a collector car for 5 to 10 years that is going to appreciate. Yeah, although I'm not very good at selling my cars. I'm a lot better at buying them. So I haven't sold a car in like 10 years. But no, I've always bought what I like and what I love. And that's kind of worked out because a lot of other people my age liked and loved those cars when they're younger too, and they're kind of getting to the point where they can afford them. So those are the cars that have really been shooting up in value. So like this Diablo, I paid 126,000 for in 2014. It's probably worth 350 to 400,000 now. It's a 99 Alpine Edition, Monterey Blue, and such a fun car. I love this car. And then the Countach, I got a pretty good deal on it, even though it was very expensive. I paid 500,000 for it last year. It was probably worth at least 600,000, maybe a little more when I bought it. I mean, that is one I probably could have flipped if I wanted to, but it took. I mean, I was searching for years and years for a good Countach. It was a pretty good deal. It wasn't like these cars pop up that you can flip very often. It's very rare. So, but cars shot up before that. These used to be under 100,000 15 years ago. The Aston Martin I paid 125,000 for in 2017. I think it's probably worth 200 now. The Esprit I bought for 39,000 in 2017-ish, 18. I think they're worth about 70,000 now. My Supras have shot up in value. So if you buy kind of cars that have already depreciated, rare cars, and cars that people liked, you can do very well with them. So, but yes, thank you for that question. Cool. I do see quite a few people who are, I'm curious if you guys and women who are on the live, if you're regulars on my YouTube channel or if you're new, because I am new to the YouTube, this live format, so it'd be interesting to know. Yeah, the real Anthony Fauci, I recognize you from YouTube comments too, so thank you. But they have all become investments, but I didn't really buy them as an investment. I didn't buy them because I knew I wouldn't sell them. So they've been an investment, though, in a way, as far as mindset and goal setting and marketing. That's for sure. They've helped in that route. But this is a pure investment of buying and selling them. It's hard to call them much of an investment because I don't ever want to sell them. But they did definitely increase in value. Super Dave, do you have to run them every so often to prevent the motor from seizing? You should drive cars, definitely. It's not really about the motor seizing. That's more of lack of oil and other issues and different things. I mean, there are cars that can sit for 30 years and the motor won't seize on them, but all the hoses will dry out, all the belts will be brittle. Lots of other things will be very wrong with them if you don't drive the cars. So it's definitely best to drive them when you can. But if you don't drive them, it's honestly better to buy a car that's got more miles and has been driven than a car that's been sitting around and not been driven and has really low miles if you intend to use it. So that is important, but it's not so much as the motor, but just like the belts, the hoses, other issues that can really be very expensive. Michael Hartloff, welcome. What's up? Michael comments on all my YouTube channels, what's up? And then I comment back, what's happening? Regular drama viewing fan, awesome. Yeah, appreciation is icing on the cake, that's for sure. Drama properties. I have Jason. I recognize, obviously, you comment a lot too, so thank you. I appreciate that. But I have a playlist for evictions and crazy stories now. I don't know if you guys saw that. So I do have a playlist that's pretty much for drama. You have a lot more money than me. Everyone's got to start somewhere. So this has taken a long time to get to this point, and these were goals of mine since I was basically 6 years old. So thank you, Sven. Appreciate that. Oh, Pablo, where is Pablo? Yes, Michael, you comment on my TikToks too, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Show my faces. I only have one face. What was I just gonna say? Oh, Pablo. Pablo hasn't commented for a while. I don't know what happened to Pablo. I think I miss him. He's so much fun. But I was gonna show this. You really here? Can I even? There we go. That's me right there. Hello. That's my face. But we'll switch this back around, or we'll zoom in farther. Or I'm taking a picture. Who knows what I'm doing? Okay. So this book right here was a book my sister gave me, I think when I was 6, and it's from 1985. But this might be the cause of all my car issues from for now. So I can blame my sister for those. But a lot of the cars, Mustang, I have a Mustang 5.0. At one point I had a Corvette, this Celica Supra. I have different Supras, but I have a Supra. Starions were cool. But there's an Esprit. I have an Esprit right up there. Obviously, this book is kind of the cause of a lot of my issues, but I'm really glad I have those issues. There's the Aston Martin. Aston Martin's right down there. And there you go. There's the main culprit. So why I have a lot of the passion I do today. Almost all the ones yeah, close. Who are you? Why am I subscribed to you? I don't know, Homework 5. I do real estate investing and businesses, and obviously I've got a few cars and stuff. So I'm not sure why you're uh, subscribed to me. Do I have enough space to park all of my cars inside? Um, so this is my house garage, and you can see I've got space for 4 cars in here. I used to have 3 lifts in here, but lifts don't work with Lamborghinis because the doors go up and they're so wide they barely fit on top. And I like them down lower anyway because I prefer to drive them quite a bit. I also have 2 other garages over there. You can see my wife's cars over there. Our kids' stuff is over there. My daily drivers, the Velociraptor, so it stays outside. And then I've got an office garage too. And in my office garage, I've got my 94 Supra, my 2010 Audi S4, my 91 Mustang 5.0, and my 1986 Porsche 928. I also have a 91 Supra that's at the shop right now, but I think it's finished, but I don't have anywhere to put it. So I need to figure that out. Another reason why I don't want to buy, more cars right now is I don't have anywhere to put them. Supra is your favorite? That's cool, Brian. Yeah, it's a 94 6-speed twin turbo Baltic Blue. So the first car I ever bought on my own was an 87 Supra non-turbo. I paid $4,500 for. So it was midnight blue. I've always loved Supras. Do you go through Haggerty or Grunt? I go through Haggerty. I do Haggerty classic car insurance for all my cars. It's so much more affordable than people think it is. So is there a car lot in the detail shop? I've driven by there. Nothing's listed for sale, but I am keeping an eye on that. So we'll see how that goes. They do have cars parked out there, but I've also seen those cars in the garage to have cameras set up and seen them working on them. So it's supposed to be a car repair shop, not a dealership. We'll see how well that goes. Pretty cool when you park the supercars in front of Kersey Car Wash on Fun Car Fridays. Yeah, that's always fun, and they get lots of attention too. So it definitely brings attention to the laundromat because Kersey has about 1,500 people in that town, so it's fun. Who has the best car insurance rates? In my opinion, it's Haggerty, but I don't know if I've ever priced Grundy, if that was even what you said. But yeah, Haggerty is so much cheaper than like regular insurance, that's for sure. And the other really cool thing about Haggerty as well is that like with other insurance, when I first insured my Diablo was it all, I don't know, one of the big insurance companies. And like I said, the value had gone up a ton. So I bought it for 126. The insurance company kind of had the replacement value of 126, what I bought it for. Well, it went up in value to 200,000. I'm like, hey, I need to change the value on this car because it's underinsured. And they wanted me to get an appraisal and jump through all these hoops to determine a value. And I'm like, man, this is a pain. And then I end up going to Haggerty, and Haggerty's like, oh, we automatically do replacement value based on current market, and we'll do comps and sales and all this stuff. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about constantly updating prices. We give you current market value. So that was really nice with Haggerty too. Okay, more comments. Sorry. Uh, do you change the brake fluid in your cars? Yeah, every couple years, at least every 2 years. I don't do it myself, but I'll take these in for service, do the oil change, brake flush, coolant flush, all that stuff, and do any belts, hoses, things like that that need to be done. So, yep. And Rob, good to see you here too. An Evo 8. Evos aren't my favorite. They're okay, but kind of like WRXs aren't my favorite either. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad cars, but they're just kind of, real basic sedans that are pretty fast, and they're just not my favorite. Now, speaking, oh, thank you, NA, of brake fluid changes, my 928 brake fluid warning light is actually on right now. Which car does my wife like the least? I would say, good question. She doesn't like to drive the Countach because it's got a very heavy clutch and doesn't have power steering. So I love driving it. I think it's amazing, but she doesn't like driving it. She loves the Aston Martin. I think that's her favorite one. But I don't know what her least favorite. I don't think she likes the Countach. She just doesn't like to drive it. I think probably my 91 Supra is her least favorite if she had to pick one. I think they're cool, but a lot of people think they're just boring 80s or 90s cars. Well, that's cool about Grundy. I haven't looked at them. I'll have to check them out. Evos, yeah, they can sound good. My nephew actually bought an Evo. I think it was a 2004, and that was kind of his dream car. And I think he got kind of a bad one. He hates it. He's trying to sell it. So it could be, it was pretty modified, and I don't think it's done very well. And so, but it wasn't what he thought it would be. So, and that's tricky. It's kind of like my Mustang when I put the supercharger on it and different things. I made it way faster than it was stock. So that's fun, but you also have brakes that were meant for way less horsepower, suspension, all that stuff has to be done too. And a lot of times when you have modified cars, all that stuff isn't done. Cool. Homework 5. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Aston Martin smells like laundry soap. No, I don't think so. I should check though. Was that when I drove to the laundromat when I had the box of soap? It must have been. Let's check. Nope, it doesn't smell like soap. Oh, my daughter's socks are in here though. I took her to dance in this the other day. Yeah, I have a laundromat. So I had a big box of boxed 100 packets of laundry soap you could buy in a vending machine, and I think I took it to the laundromat in my Aston Martin, and that box smelled like laundry detergent very strongly. So I think that's why they're saying the Aston Martin still smell like it. Haggerty has a rental program where you can rent your own vehicle out like Turo, but you can rent my Century on there and drive it for fun, 300 a day. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I would never rent my cars out. I know some people do that. That's not something I would ever do. Have an independent nose check. You're tainted now. That's true. I might be. How many house flips have you done so far this year? We haven't done many house flips this year compared to some other years. There were a couple of years we actually sold 26 flips, which was a crazy amount. That was way too many. It was very hard to manage all those and get contractors to fix them. It was crazy. But I think we've sold like 4 or 5 house flips this year, but I've bought more the end of the year. I've bought, what, 4 this last few months, or 3 or 4. So it was really hard to find deals there for a while. Now we're starting to see a little more deals. I don't know. It might return to a normal market. But last year, I bought a few in the year before that kind of multifamily flips where I wasn't buying as many house flips, but I bought the complex, which was a 7 unit. That's meant to be a flip. But, higher interest rates have made it harder to sell multifamily, that's for sure. I had my other house in Platteville. It's a triplex. That's kind of meant to be a flip that we have rented out. I've got my other triplex slash 4 unit illegal house that's rented out. Just the 3 units are rented out, and that was kind of meant to be a flip. So I have quite a few properties that could have been flips and were multiple units that I still have, but I make money on them from rent. But at some point, I will eventually sell them. Oh, Sven, when I said, I got you now. Yeah, the Aston Martin doesn't smell like soap now, but that box certainly did smell like soap. And honestly, it wouldn't have surprised me if the Aston Martin smelled like soap a little bit. So I'm pretty sure there's some health code stuff and different things as well about mixing soap with candy and stuff like that. But definitely, I think if you had those boxes in there, would make the vending machine smell like laundry soap because you could smell that box with them all sealed up in the box and the box sealed up. You could still smell it pretty strong. Have you figured out what niche product you might put in your market? Oh, yeah. So we're always adding things, and then I did a post on what kind of different things people like, to put in the market. We did add soft pretzels recently, so we'll see how like the big soft pretzels, we'll see how they do. And then I was trying to look into some like my wife likes really fancy these chocolate bars. I forget what they're called. I might look into some of that. And yeah, I did save some of those ideas too and took a screenshot of it. I forget what some of them were. But yeah, for right now, we're adding pretzels and then some of the chocolate bars, and we'll kind of go from there. Are you going to get away from the multifamily, or do you enjoy the drama like the guy supposedly living in the garage? Um, the drama, it really doesn't bother me, and it kind of is kind of fun. So, uh, like just now, we bought the flip that had the post occupancy agreement a week and a half ago, and I was just waiting for something to happen with it where they won't move out. I'm like, part of me kind of wanted that to happen, but I'm glad they did move out. But yeah, so I don't mind the drama, and but I am looking for multifamily still. So I have no problem buying multifamily if it's value add, if I can get a really good deal. In fact, I've kind of got someone who wants to buy some stuff with me, who wants to do some bigger deals. It's just really hard to find anything. So it's kind of a weird conundrum right now where I mentioned it's harder to sell multifamily because interest rates have gone up and investors can't get the return they got before. So it's hard to sell multifamily, but there's still not multifamily deals out there. So it's kind of like this stalemate where investors who own multifamily, most of them bought them quite a while ago, probably have really low rates. They don't need to sell them. They're just holding on to them because they're making money through rent. And they're like, well, I'm not going to sell it for cheap right now because I don't need to. So I'm just going to hold on to it. And then people who are trying to buy multifamily, want a good deal because interest rates are high. So not much is happening sale wise, but there's still not really that good deals either. Specialty sodas. Oh yeah, I could look into that. We do have some stuff. Not like we've got some Tommy Knocker root beer and some other stuff, some Mexican Fanta and different things in there. But yeah, we could always add more. Use the free quarters for chocolate. It won't seem as hard to pay for. That's true. I have more patience than you. Ocha drama would have led me to sell that. Yeah, and the Ocha was actually one I wouldn't mind selling. It's not officially for sale, but I did have someone who approached us because they were doing a 1031 exchange and were interested in it. And we showed it to them, and I think we told them we'd sell it for 1.8 million, or maybe just over, because they had an agent they brought to. And I never heard back. They were trying to call me, and I was trying to call them. They never heard back. But so I wouldn't be opposed to selling the Ocho, but it's not officially listed for sale either. How many tenants in the Ocho were left from the previous owner? There's still two there. So yeah, they're both great. They've always paid on time, never had issues with them. And then the other six are all new. But yeah, obviously almost all the issues, except for the garage guy, we did put him in there. Um, all the issues were from the previous tenants when we bought it. Galcos Market in Highland Park, California. Big time. So, well, that's cool. Yeah, I might have to look into that more. Any interest in getting into cannabis products? No, not really, because there's a few issues with it. You know, Colorado is one of the first states to legalize it. And so Colorado is very saturated, right? There's a ton of competition, a ton of dispensaries, ton of manufacturers here. And from the people I've talked to, I know a couple of people in the industry, they say it's very tough to get into right now. It is not just, you know, you don't just make money hand over foot like some people think. There's a lot of competition. Prices have been driven down quite a bit. And then just the regulation, it's yes, it's legal in Colorado, but it's not legal nationally. Almost every bank you deal with is FDIC insured, nationally insured by the Fed government. They won't touch a marijuana business. They won't lend if you're using real estate for it. They won't let you do bank accounts with it. They won't lend to, you know, for your business on it. So it's almost an entirely cash business, except for a few banks that have kind of come up recently just for the marijuana industry. So it's a little tricky being in that industry and especially real estate wise. And it's, yeah, you've got to be really good at what you're doing. You can't just hop in there and expect to make a ton of money. Are you looking for anything to add to your collection? Not really, but I'm always open to ideas. The Ocho is my content goldmine. It was for a while. We haven't had too much going on there recently. Um, I think the garage guy is still there, but he doesn't really bother anyone. He knows we have cameras there. He's not really living there. He just hangs out there all day long. It's kind of weird. But I guess I should knock on wood that there's no drama there. Did I replace the trees at the Ocho? They were supposed to be replaced, but I'm pretty sure the guy hasn't done it yet. So that's a guy who's worked with me for a very long time, a contractor who started doing his own landscaping business, and it has not been going well. So we've been using him because we still use him for contracting jobs, and yeah, we've had a couple talks with him. We need to have another talk because his landscaping stuff is just hurting everything. Have you thought about adding quarter candy machines at the laundromats? I have thought about it. The new one, there's room. The Kersey laundromat, there's just not much room in there. But yeah, and you know those small quarter vending machines. I have thought about it. I've just had other priorities right now to get other stuff done. Oh, Dead Alliance, that's a good one. I don't need to add a 97 Toyota Century, but good try. What else do you collect other than cars? I have some Ulysse Nardine watches, but honestly, I stopped wearing them once I got my Garmin Golf watch because it's like a rangefinder and watch at the same time, and then it tracks my heart rate and steps and all kinds of other stuff, and I don't even wear my other watches anymore. So, besides cars, I do like coin. Obviously, I do have a small coin collection that I had before I started collecting quarters, but nothing too crazy. I actually had a lot larger coin collection that I got from my grandpa when he passed away, but someone stole it like 15 years ago from my first house. I think I don't know exactly who stole it, but someone did. A friend at a party or something. But coins are cool. Cars are the main thing, that's for sure. Have you ever utilized DSCR loans? I only own one small rental property, and I've been looking into DSCR. For those of you who don't know, DSCR loans are like loans from like hedge funds, private equity funds that just are based on the property's income. So they still usually look at credit, but if you've got high debt to income ratio, different things going on personally, sometimes they'll give you a loan just based on the income on the property. They're just for investment properties. So they have slightly higher rates than banks. A lot of times they're easier to get than banks. But the biggest holdup with DSCR loans, they almost all have a huge prepayment penalty, like a 5-year prepayment term. So if you sell or refinance within 5 years, you're paying a big fee for those loans. And so right now, with rates so high, right, and if rates go down, you're kind of stuck with that high rate. It's not very advantageous. So I would have probably done a few DSCR loans if it wasn't for those huge prepayment penalties. Yes, I do collect quarters. Oh, I've missed some comments. I saw a short that showed carcass top loader machines being dumped at the scrap metal yard. I was thinking about you. Yeah, that's a tricky one. The top loader versus the uh, front loader machine. So most of the laundromat people I've talked to say don't use top loaders. They're too inefficient. People will learn to use the front loaders. But the really older laundromat guys say to use a top loader still. So, and the front loaders, a lot of people say it's bad on your back, hard to bend over. But these are on bases. I mean, they're about 8 to 10 inches higher once they're installed. So they're pretty high, and you don't have to bend all the way over like you would your at home, front loader. But still, I could see that. But you also have to bend over for the top loaders too, because those are very deep. And to get your clothes at the very bottom, you're bending over as well. So we'll see. How far have you come on the hoarder house? It is pretty much done. So the hoarder house, all the yards cleaned up now, carpets in, paint's done. I think we're just finishing up. They had to reconnect some gas lines for the furnace and the water heater. There was some confusion because they put an electric water heater and someone thought it was gas. So we're just touching up a few of those items and it should be done. So I'm hoping next week that is all the way done. It would be funny if you coined one of your laundromats for those gold $1 coins, make collection. Yeah, that would be cool. But the problem is finding those gold $1 coins and then finding a dollar changer that would change those out for you too. I don't think they make any gold $1 coin changers. Maybe they do. Maybe some of those token changers will do that. So yeah, if you guys have questions, comments, that's what I'm here for. Just saying, this is my first. If you just joined, my first TikTok vertical live like this, a new thing TikTok is doing, and I'm just trying it out. I do a lot of these YouTube. I keep saying that. The first time YouTube is I've done this, but I do a lot of these live videos on TikTok, so they do pretty well there. Are you still silver hunting your change? Once in a while. But I've literally been silver hunting for over a year at the Ocho and the complex and not found one silver quarter. One. And that's looking at thousands and thousands of quarters. And they're only worth like, what, $4 or $5? So it's definitely not worth it. And just the sheer amount of quarters that the laundromats have, I haven't been looking for quarters for silver and all of those. My wife drives a Grand Wagoneer. Let me see if the keys are in the Countach. Sometimes they are. They're not. I need the keys to flip them up. So let's see. Maybe in a little bit. I want to get these comments. We'll see what everyone else says. The car wash has those $1 coins. Yeah, quite a few of them have and the laundromats have the $1 tokens or coins that they have, but you can't, they're not real dollar coins. You can't go use them anywhere else. So it's one way for them to make more money, kind of, because if you can only use those coins at their laundromat, then you're stuck with all those once you switch out your change. Kind of rare coins do you have? Well, I had some old pennies too. Like my grandpa worked at the post office for decades, and so he just collected a ton of coins. And when he passed away, I was very young. I was probably 10, but I still like coins back then. And I got a bunch of his pennies. My sister got a bunch of his quarters. My other cousin got a bunch of his dimes and stuff. So I kind of got the cheaper a part of his collection because I was the youngest one. But he had some really rare pennies, like the 1907 VDB or whatever it was, that I was able to get. But like I said, someone stole almost all of it. I had it in kind of a portable safe in a closet, and someone rummaged through my house apparently, which was, pretty crappy of them to do, obviously. But yeah, so I don't have any of those cool ones anymore. Now I just have I've got a few coins and stuff, but nothing that cool. Oh, Dead to the Lions, good try. I don't really show houses though anymore. That's the problem with that. Any progress on making the machines accept credit cards? Yeah, I did. Oh, they're real coins. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Um, sorry, now I'm jumping around comments. The new laundromat guy I talked to, who's very helpful, said they have some apps and different stuff you can do with the machines to accept credit cards. It's way more affordable than the older stuff. So, if you want to put credit card readers on some of those machines, it can be $500 to $800 per machine to install those. Plus, you're paying transaction fees for the credit cards. It's very expensive. But with some of the new apps and different technology they have, you can do it like 100 to 200 bucks per machine. So I want to get up and running, get it going. Then maybe we'll look into some of the credit card stuff. Do another coin guest giveaway. I might have to do that. I thought about doing it for all the coins I got out of the machines I bought, but I was a little bit busy and didn't have time to do that. I have a hobby that will pay for a pizza in 20 years, which is saving 1982 and earlier pennies because the real copper is worth about 2 cents. There you go. Well, what's funny is I said I haven't found any silver quarters, but we have a horse, like one of the horses that you can go up and down at the grocery store for kids. I bought one of those for the liquor store in Mini Mart, and you can use any coin you want in there. It can be a penny, it can be a quarter, whatever. And so I think I've actually found 3 or 4 and a couple silver dimes and nickels in there. So they're, very light, not worth that much. But I did find silver in dimes and nickels, just not any quarters. 11:48 right now, my time. So I am a night owl, in case anybody's wondering. But I do have to take my kids to school in the morning. So I usually go to bed at 12:30 or so and get up about 7-ish. 1:48 a.m. Yeah, it's late for you, Jason. Well, this has been interesting doing the new YouTube live. I do have to say, I get a lot more people on the TikTok one. It says I've got 30 people on this live now. On some of the TikTok ones, I'll have 500 to 1,000 people on those at once. Sometimes not that many, but TikTok does do really good lives, so they really push that. But this will be interesting to see how this progresses and keeps going. Get off at work at midnight, so oh wow, that's late to get off of work. Yeah, I got off at work today at noon. And, on Thursdays, I usually go and golf with some buddies in the afternoon, and then come home after that, hang out with the family. So cool. So we've been doing the live now for 45 minutes. These go really fast. It's kind of crazy. Sometimes I'll be on these for 60 minutes, 90 minutes, and it seems like it's been like 15 minutes, but they're fun. Good excuse to be in the garage and hang out. Last winter, it was pretty snowy and I couldn't drive the cars very much. And so I would actually come out here in the garage sometimes and just sit in them. I'm like, man, I should have been doing lives back then. It'd be way more fun. 2 to 12. Okay. I think I'm going to take the Diablo tomorrow. It's been plugged in, but that door light looks a little dim. Message retracted. Uh-oh. Do you talk enough business to write your golf off? What's your handicap? Yeah, I can write my golf off. I'm always talking business. My handicap is about 10, probably. I don't actually keep track of it. I actually, ironically, all my friends make fun of me because they all keep track of their handicaps. And playing tournaments. I usually don't play in tournaments. And I signed up for well, I had a gin a few years ago, and I hadn't kept up with it. And I just signed up today to start tracking my gin again. So I would guess I'm around a 10-ish in that range. But the guys I play with are 6, 8, and a 3 right now. But I still beat them once in a while. So the paint match Toyota branded golf club. That's pretty crazy. Technology might have passed up the usefulness of that club, but that'd still be pretty cool. The labor rate for Lamborghinis, it keeps going up. The guy I use, I think he's at 120 an hour, which is actually pretty affordable. I think if you go to a Lamborghini dealership, it's probably more like 180 an hour. I haven't been to a Lamborghini dealership in a long time though. But maybe it's more, maybe it's a little less. That's just, I think, what I had heard recently, but it's definitely not cheap. Disc golf, cool. Yeah, when I was a kid, my sister and her first husband used to play disc golf all the time. And I used to play with them once in a while. But she's 10 years older than me, so um, she was married and I was still pretty young. How well do you get paid for TikTok versus YouTube live screens? Live streams, sorry. I have no idea yet on YouTube. So, and I can't remember if I may have forgot to click the monetize button before I did this live. So I might be getting paid nothing, but like on TikTok lives, you get paid when people send you gifts. So they actually have to buy those gifts and they'll send them to you. And I might make 40 cents on a really good live on TikTok. It's definitely not to make money, but on my TikTok lives, I might gain 200 or 300 followers from one live, which is a pretty good amount. I have almost 50,000 followers on TikTok now. So that's really why you do it, is because you can gain a whole lot of followers, and then it brings more engagement and comments and stuff to your other content there, and just helps your channel overall. TikTok in general doesn't make very much money at all, so it's really not there for me to just make money off their advertising or fees. It's more for me to, promote some of the stuff I'm doing, also to promote my YouTube and different stuff like that. Same thing I do kind of, Facebook actually pays a lot better than TikTok. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Facebook will pay creators. I get paid for reels that I make and posts, and they stopped doing it for a while and they just started doing it again. I have some reels on Facebook that will make me $100 to $200 if they do well, just from one 15-second reel. And so Facebook on a good month will make me a few $1,000s for stuff I'd be posting anyway to help promote myself. So it's kind of interesting. And then YouTube, some people make tons of money on YouTube. My channel's not big enough to make tons of money. It does fine, but it's definitely not replacing my day job, that's for sure. And we'll see how these lives do. If they, like I said, I'm guessing I need to have a few more people on here to make anything decent. Local Ford dealers 150 an hour. Yeah, I mean, honestly, my mechanic might be higher now. I'd have to check and see. Do a car collaboration with the Car Wizard in Kansas. Oh, that's cool. That's not too far away from me. Ever thought of actually rebuilding a car instead of buying them done? I talked about that earlier in the live. So, especially with cars like this, with the Lamborghinis, the Aston Martin, the Lotus, those cars you don't really want to rebuild. So, if you take a car that's really, beat up and just a mess, and you rebuild it. You just never know how well someone rebuilds them. And so you, as a collector, as someone who wants to buy these cars, you really want to find a car that's mostly original, hasn't had a ton of work done to it except for maintenance and stuff like that. And so if you do start rebuilding cars, doing a bunch of stuff to them, it can really decrease the value, make them less, you know, um, collectors will be less likely to buy them. So it gets tricky with these. You can still do it, but I have always been of the theory with cars, which is the opposite of real estate for me, buy really good cars. They're really well maintained and in really good shape. I still try to get good deals on them, but buy stuff that's in really good shape. The exact opposite of what I do with my real estate. So that's been my theory there. I mean, if you want to like restore, build up, muscle cars, that might be a little easier. That happens a lot more if you want to do like resto mods with muscle cars, things like that. That might make more sense. But yeah, for these kind of cars, you kind of want to buy them really good and keep them good. And the other issue you find too, like there was a Countach that sold in Greeley a couple of months ago. There were two Countaches here, mine, and 1982 white one. And I talked to that guy a long time and knew him, and I'd seen him at car shows even before I got mine. And I actually tried to buy that one from him, but he wanted way too much money for it. He had 100,000 kilometers on it, so like 60,000 miles. It'd been repainted. The dash was messed up. The interior was messed up. The engine needed a bunch of work. It was just a mess. And that car sold for 490,000. Like it was crazy how much it sold for. Where you could get a really, really good one for, um, 6 to 700,000, maybe closer to 700,000. But as expensive as it is to fix these cars, you'd probably be spending, $200,000 to make it as good as those other cars, and then there really wasn't any advantage to it, and you still have a really high mileage car. The car's had a ton of work done to it, and people will, remember these cars and track these cars and know when they sold last and who bought them and what cars they are. If you had that one that was a mess and needed a bunch of work and sold, people will know that and remember that car when it comes back up for sale again. So that's my spiel on fixing and repairing these cars. All right. It's getting close to midnight. I'll probably be signing off here pretty soon. So if anybody has any questions or comments here before I go, let me know. Appreciate the likes and follows if anybody's here who isn't already subscribed to my channel. It'll be interesting to see the data and analytics after doing this live, how it went, since my first one on YouTube like this. So yeah, yep. Good night, Michael. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your comments on my videos too. Jason, appreciate your comments too. Always nice to see the regulars always saying something, good or bad, but usually you guys are making good comments. Unlike Pablo, and we don't know what happened to Pablo. I wonder if something did happen to him. He hasn't been around for I feel like it's been almost a week. Yep. Anarchy by Fauci. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. To Kirkland. I've been going for almost an hour now, but I'll try and do more of these lives. The cartel got them. They might have, and I do more lives on TikTok too. My Invest More TikTok channel. We'll see how the YouTube stuff does. 122,000 miles. I don't think you mentioned that point about your Century before. That's a lot of miles. What color is it? Not that I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm just curious. What color? I feel like it would be it's gold. Maybe you told me that before, but that's my guess on what color it is. No TikToks. The thing I like, TikTok does their lives so well. They promote them, at least for the creator. They promote them. Tons of people show up. They have lots of tools and different stuff you can do. So that's one thing I really like about TikTok, because I've done Instagram lives, I've done Facebook lives, and TikTok does their lives way better than those. Light bluish gray. Okay. Light bluish gray. Cool. All right. Well, I am really out of here now. So Thank you, everyone. Good night. We'll probably do some more of these. Let me know what you thought of it. You can always comment on my other videos too, and appreciate people who interact on those. That helps me out. And we'll have way more videos and stuff coming up here soon. I didn't do a video today. This is the first day or first weekday I've missed in a long time, and I got slightly busy, but I thought I'd be doing a live anyway, so we'd see how that went. All right, take care, everyone. Thanks for being on, and I'll be back.